Good morning, my dear students. In the last class, we already studied the first part of sound chapter. So in this class, we'll go for the next part, that is part B. In that, we are going to study natural vibrations, damped vibration, and forced vibration. So let's see one by one. So first one is natural vibrations. So natural vibrations are nothing but the continuous vibrations or the periodic vibrations of a body in the absence of external force acting on it. So in the absence of medium, in the absence of external force, if your body is vibrating, so then such type of vibrations produced by the body is called as natural vibrations. So it means where does the natural vibrations are taking place? In the absence of medium. So where the medium is absent, so that is only in vacuum. It means the natural vibrations are taking place only in vacuum, because in vacuum no external force is acting on the vibrating body. So in the absence of external force, a body produces some vibrations. So such type of vibrations are called as natural vibrations. The periodic vibration or the continuous vibration of a body in the absence of external force acting on it, that is called as natural vibration. So just assume a body is vibrating. So during its vibration, the frequency of that vibration is called as natural frequency. And the time period of that vibration of the body is called as natural time period. So actually, if a body is vibrating in the presence of medium, what will happen? The medium offers some resistive force on that vibrating body. So due to that resistive force, the amplitude and the frequency of a vibrating body goes on decreases. But when the body is under vibration in vacuum, no external force is acting on that vibrating body. So due to that reason, the amplitude and the frequency of a vibrating body remains constant. Amplitude and frequency of the vibrating body remain constant. So one more question: why does the amplitude and the frequency of a vibrating body remains constant when it is vibrating in vacuum? So because in vacuum no external force is acting on the vibrating body. So due to this reason, the amplitude and frequency of a vibrating body remains constant. So now let us see some examples which are related to the natural vibrations or free vibrations. So first example is about the simple pendulum. Now consider a simple pendulum. So it is suspended on rigid support. So this is the bob of a simple pendulum. So when the bob of a simple pendulum is slightly displaced on one side, then release it. So what happens? It will start to vibrate on its either side. So here the vibrations produced by the simple pendulum are called as natural vibrations. The frequency of this pendulum is called natural frequency. So the frequency of this pendulum is determined by using a formula F is equals to 1 divided by 2 pi square root of G divided by L. So this is the formula where you are going to use to find the frequency of that simple pendulum. So from this relation, we can come to know that frequency is inversely proportional to the square root of length of the simple pendulum. So as the length of a pendulum is increases, then its frequency is decreases. So if the length of a pendulum is reduced here, then obviously its frequency increases. So frequency of a simple pendulum can be calculated by using a formula F is equals to 1 by 2 pi square root of G divided by L. So where L is the length of the pendulum and G is the acceleration due to gravity. So different simple pendulums of different lengths, they are having different frequencies. Suppose if you consider length of simple pendulum of about 1 meter, and at that place the acceleration due to gravity is 9.8 meter per second, then the frequency of this simple pendulum is about 0.5 hertz. So when do we say that the frequency of a simple pendulum is 0.5 hertz? So when the length of a pendulum is 1 meter and at that place the acceleration due to gravity is 9.8 meter per second, then the frequency of that simple pendulum is 0.5 hertz. So this is the first example which is related to the natural vibration. And the second one is about stretch spring. So when load is suspended to the spring, so then obviously it will stretches. So when the spring is stretches by suspending some amount of load at the bottom end of the spring, then it will start to vibrate. The vibrations produced by the spring are called as natural vibrations, and the frequency of the spring is determined by using the formula F is equals to 1 by 2 pi square root of K divided by M. So where M is the mass of the spring and K is the force constant, or it is also called as the hardness of the spring. So the hardness of the spring. So based on these two factors, we can find out the frequency of stretched spring. So frequency is equals to 1 by 2 pi square root of K divided by M. So where K is the hardness of the spring and M is the mass of the spring. So the vibrations produced by the spring after suspending the load are called as natural vibration. So this is the second example which is related to the natural vibration. And third example is about the vibrating tuning fork. So take one tuning fork and just you strike to the rubber pad, then it will start to vibrate with its natural frequency. So at that time, the sound produced by the tuning fork is of a single frequency. So I think you may already studied this in the 7th standard or 8th standard. The sound produced by the tuning fork is of a single frequency. It is called as monotone. So the different pendulums are having different natural frequencies. So all the tuning fork are not having the same frequencies. But each tuning fork they produces a sound of a single frequency, that is called as monotone. So this is about third example, and the fourth one is about the flute. So I think you may observe that in a flute it is provided with a different holes. The number of holes are provided in the flute because to produce a different frequency sounds. So when different holes are closed in it, we can produce a different sounds of frequencies. So by using that flute. So here in a flute, its frequency is inversely proportional to the length of air column. So in a flute, frequency is inversely proportional to the length of air column. So where L is length of air column. So we can change the length of air column by closing different holes. So whenever a length of air column is decreases in the fluid, then we can produce a sound of higher frequency. When a length of air column is increases, then we can produce a sound of lower frequencies. So this is how we can produce a sound of different frequencies in a fluid by closing different holes. Just consider an organ pipe which has two openings. In that we can produce different modes of vibrations by blowing air differently. So consider it's a pipe. So it has two openings. So in this we can produce. So what it means? Air particles. So in this organ pipe which has two ends, we can produce different modes of vibration by blowing air differently. So when different modes of vibrations are produced, they have different frequencies. So in an organ pipe which has two ends, the frequency ratio is 1:2, 2:3. So one more question, what is the frequency ratio in an organ pipe which has two openings? That is 1:2, 3. So if an organ pipe has having only one opening, one end is closed here, then in this organ pipe also we can produce different modes of vibrations by blowing the air differently. So in this case, the frequency ratio is about 1:3:5. So this is the frequency ratio of an organ pipe which has only one opening, and this is the frequency ratio of an organ pipe which has two openings. So this is about the next example. What is that? Fourth one, in fluid. And next, fifth example is about the stringed instruments. So you know already the stringed instruments like violin, guitar. So these are some stringed instruments. So in stringed instruments, they have provided different thickness of strings to provide different frequency sounds. So in a stringed instruments, the frequency is determined by using a formula F is equals to 1 divided by 2L square root of T divided by pi R square D. So how we got this? So just you consider the cylinder. So this is the cylinder, and so its thickness is R and its density is D and its length is L. Okay. So D is the density of the cylinder, R is the thickness of the cylinder, and L is the length of the cylinder. So M, you know the density formula, at least M is the density is equal to mass by value, or mass can be calculated as density into value. So mass is equal to density into. So what is the value of cylinder? That is pi R square L. Pi R square L. Or you can write it as mass per unit length is equal to pi R square D. Actually, the general form of this equation is F is equal to 1 by 2L square root of T divided by M. So where M is the mass per unit length of the string. Mass per unit length of the string. So that is equals to pi R square D. So in place of M I have written pi R square D. So that is frequency of the string instrument is can be calculated by using formula F is equals to 1 by 2L square root of T divided by M, or M is nothing but the mass per unit length, which is equals to the pi r square d. So F is equals to 1 by 2L square root of T divided by pi r square d. So from these relations we can easily note that frequency is inversely proportional to the length of the stringed instrument. Means as the length of the stringed instrument is more, then frequency is very less, and frequency is inversely proportional to the square root of the radius. So that is, radius means the thickness of the string. If less is the thickness of the string, it produces a more frequency sound, and density is also inversely proportional to the frequency. So as the density of the string is decreases, the frequency of a sound is increases, and frequency is directly proportional to the square root of the tension force which is acting in the string. So if the tension force which is acting in the string is more and more, then more amount of frequency sound will be produces. So frequency is equals to 1 divided by 2L square root of T divided by pi r square d. And next example is, so when a string is stretched between the two ends, so now it's a string of length L. It is stretched between the two ends. Here we can produce different modes of vibration by plugging it at different positions. When the string is plugged exactly at the center or at a distance L by 2, when the string is stretched at the, when the string is plugged at the center, or when the string is plugged at a distance of L by 2, so then we can produce one mode of vibration. So this mode of vibration is called as principal mode. So when we can get the one mode of vibration, when the string which is stretched between two ends is plugged exactly at the center, we will get one mode of vibration, that is called as principal mode. Here the frequency of this mode of vibration is 1 Hz. See here, this is the point and this is the point. The point of the vibrating body where its amplitude is minimum. So these are the 2 points of that vibrating body, and at the 2 points the amplitude is 0. The amplitude is minimum. So the point on the wave where its amplitude is minimum. So such type of points are called as node. So what do you mean by node? So node is nothing but the point on the wave where its amplitude is minimum. So at these 2 points the amplitude is minimum. So that's why it is called as node. And the distance between two successive nodes is equals to lambda by 2. So distance between two successive nodes is equals to lambda by 2. So what is this? So this is the length of the string. So these are the 2 nodes. So the distance between 2 nodes is equals to L. So here we can write L is equals to lambda by 2, or lambda is equals to 2L. So what is the distance between 2 nodes? That is lambda by 2. So when you get the one mode of vibration, when we plug the string at exactly at its center. So that is at a distance of L by 2. So when the string is plugged, so at a distance of L by 4, so then you will get the 2 modes of vibration. So we will get the 2 modes of vibration when the string is plugged at a distance of L by 4. So here 2 vibrations are produced. So 2 modes of vibrations are produced. So its frequency is 2 Hertz. So then how many notes are formed here? 1, 2 and 3. So total 3 notes are formed. So the distance between 2 successive notes is equals to lambda by 2. The distance between these 2 successive notes is equals to lambda by 2. So from this diagram, L is given as from here to here. So L is equals to lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2. So that is L is equals to 2 lambda by 2 or lambda is equals to 2L by 2. So in the principal mode, the frequency is 1 Hertz. So here when you plug the string at a distance of L by 4, you will get the 2 modes of vibrations. So this is called as a first subsidiary. So when a string is plugged at a distance of L by 4, you will get the 2 modes of vibration, that is called as first subsidiary. So when string is stretched between the 2 ends, then if you plug that string at a distance of L by 6, then you will get the 3 modes of vibrations. You will get the 3 modes of vibrations. So here in this case, so the length is equals to, so the distance between 2 nodes is equals to lambda by 2. Here the distance between these 2 nodes lambda by 2. Here the distance between 2 nodes is lambda by 2. So L is equals to lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2. So L is equals to 3 lambda by 2. So by looking the frequencies here, what is the frequency of that when 3 modes of vibrations are formed? That is 3 Hertz. So this is called as a second subsidiary. So look at their frequency. So when 1 mode of vibration is formed, when 2 modes of vibrations are formed, and 3 modes of vibrations are formed. So in a principal mode, its frequency is 1 Hertz. In first subsidiary, the frequency is 2 Hertz, and in second subsidiary, the frequency is 3 Hertz. So then what is their frequency ratio? Frequency ratio is 1:2:3. And if you look at their wavelength ratio, that is 3:2:1. So this is the frequency ratio and this is the wavelength ratio. So these are some examples which are related to the natural vibrations. So look at once again this is the principal mode where you are going to plug the string at a distance of L by 2, then only 1 mode of vibration is formed, that is called as principal mode. Here you are going to plug the string at a distance of L by 4, so there you get 2 modes of vibration, then that is called as first subsidiary. And here you are going to plug the string at a distance of L by 6, then you are going to get 3 modes of vibration, that is called as second subsidiary. Here in principal mode the frequency is 1 Hz. In first subsidiary, frequency is 2 Hz. In second subsidiary, the frequency is 3 Hz. Their frequency ratio is 1:2:3, and here the distance between two nodes is equals to lambda by 2, and here only two nodes are formed. So that's why the L is exactly equals to lambda by 2, or lambda is equals to 2L. And here in first subsidiary, three nodes are formed. The distance between two nodes, successive node is lambda by 2. So L is equals to lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2. So then L is equals to 2 lambda by 2, or lambda is equals to 2L by 2. So there L is equal four nodes are formed. So then distance between two successive nodes is lambda by 2. L is equals to lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2. You will get L is equals to 3 lambda by 2, or lambda is equals to 2L by 3. So if you look at the frequency ratio and the wavelength ratio, frequency ratio is 1:2:3, and wavelength ratio is 3:2:1. So as I told you already, in case of a natural vibration, the amplitude and frequency of a vibrating body remains constant. So now look at the displacement time graph for natural vibrations. So along x-axis we are taking a time, and along y-axis we are taking displacement. So this is the displacement time graph for the natural vibrations. So as I told you already, so in case of natural vibrations, the amplitude and the frequency of a vibrating body remains constant. Why? Because no external force is acting on the vibrating body. So due to that reason, the amplitude and the frequency So this is the amplitude of the vibrating body. So this is the frequency. See, amplitude remains the same, and the frequency also remains the same here. So why does the amplitude and frequency remain same? Because no external force is acting on the vibrating body. So if they ask you to plot the displacement time graph for a natural vibration, you should draw this wave diagram. So that is displacement time graph, and in this the amplitude and the frequency both are constant. So remember, the natural vibrations are taking place only in vacuum, because no external force is acting on the vibrating body. So next come to the damped vibration. So damped vibrations are taking place in the presence of medium. Natural vibrations are taking place in the absence of medium, but the damped vibrations are taking place in the presence of medium. So damped vibrations are defined as the periodic vibration of a body under the influence of an external force. The periodic vibration of a body under the influence of an external force, or in the presence of external force with decrease in amplitude. That is called as a damped vibration. So what do you mean by damped vibration? Damped vibrations are defined as the periodic vibrations or the continuous vibration of a body in the presence of medium with decrease in amplitude, and frequency is called as damped vibrations. So now you may easily give an examples for damped vibration. So in a surrounding body, in a surrounding medium, if a simple pendulum is oscillating, so then after few seconds, it will comes to at rest. So why it will come to at rest? Because an external force is acting on that vibrating simple pendulum. So due to that external force, the amplitude goes on decreasing. Finally, it will comes to at rest. So that is the first example which is related to the damped vibration. And the second example is, so let's take the tuning fork. So just take a tuning fork, strike it to the rubber pad and hold in your hand. You will observe that after a few seconds again, the vibrating tuning fork will come to at rest because of the external force is acting on that vibrating body. That is called as damped vibration. Means here, in case of damped vibration, what we have to understand, in the presence of external force, the amplitude and frequency of a body goes on decreasing. So finally, it will comes to 0. So that's why it is called as damped vibration. So you have to remember one thing. So in damped vibration, total 2 forces are acting on the body. In damped vibration, how many forces are acting? 2 forces. One is the external force, that is also called as the resistive force, or it is also called as the frictional force. And second one is restoring force. So restoring force is nothing but the body itself, it exerts a amount of force to come to its original position. So that's why it is called as a restoring force. So in a damped vibration, the body experiences 2 types of forces. One is the resistive force, or it is also called as frictional force, and one more is the restoring force. So next, third example. So when you pull a branch of a tree, so it will oscillate for few seconds and finally it will come to at rest. So during its vibration, its amplitude goes on decreasing, and finally the amplitude and frequency of that vibrating body becomes 0. So in a damped vibration, amplitude and frequency of the vibrating body goes on decreases. So if you look at the displacement time graph for this damped vibration, so initially it vibrates with a larger amplitude, and as the time goes on, the frequency of the vibrating body decreases. So this is the displacement time graph for the damped vibration. See, look at the wave diagram currently. The amplitude. So initially it is the amplitude, and here amplitude. And look at the amplitude here and here and here. So amplitude goes on decreases as the time increases. So it shows the nature of damped vibration. So next is about the forced vibrations. So forced vibrations are defined as the periodic vibrations of a body under the influence of an external force acting on the vibrating body is called as a forced vibration. So just assume it is an object, it is vibrating now. So this duster is vibrating. Initially it is under vibration. So what happens in the presence of medium? So after few seconds it will come to at rest because external force is acting on this vibrating body. So to remain it in under vibration, so what you have to do? We have to apply an external force on this vibrating body to maintain this body is under continuous vibrations. That is called as forced vibrations. So the forced vibration is defined as the periodic vibration of a body under the influence of an external force which is acting on that vibrating body. So that is called as forced vibration. So when the body is under forced vibration, on the body actually three forces are acting. One is that is resistive force. Second one is restoring force. And third one is external force. So remember, the resistive force is exerted by the medium. External force may exert by any object which makes the body to remain continuous vibration. So these are the three forces are acting when the body is under a forced vibration. So restoring force, resistive force, restoring force and external force. So just assume a body is vibrating with its natural frequency. A body is vibrating with its natural frequency F. And whatever the external force is applied on that body, so the frequency of that external force is also becomes equal to the frequency of vibrating body. Then the body vibrates with a larger amplitude. So consider it is this body is vibrating. So now I am applying an external force. So the frequency of external force, when it becomes equal to the frequency of vibrating body. So if it is vibrating means it has already its natural frequency. So whatever the force I am applying on this body, the frequency of my force when it is equal to the frequency of vibrating body. So that is F when it becomes equals to N. So N is the natural frequency of the vibrating body and F is the frequency of external force. When these two frequencies are equal, then the body vibrates with a larger amplitude. So then you can hear a very loud sound. So this special condition of a forced vibration is called as resonance. So the special condition of a forced vibration is called as resonance. So what is the condition for resonance? When the frequency of external force becomes equal to the frequency of natural vibration of a body, then the resonance will take place. So when the body is under resonance, then a body vibrates with a larger amplitude, then it produces very loud sound. So one more question, why loud sound is produced under a resonance? So why? Because when the body is under resonance, it vibrates with a very large amplitude. Why? Because the frequency of external force is exactly equal to the natural frequency of the vibrating body. So due to that reason, the resonance will take place and very loud sound is heard. At that time, a body vibrates with a larger amplitude. So this is the very important topic in these three vibrations. So resonance is taking place only when the frequency of external force becomes exactly equal to the natural frequency of vibrating body. So then that is called as resonance. So at that time very loud sound is heard because the body vibrates with a larger amplitude. Okay. So in today's class we learned about what do you mean by natural vibrations, what do you mean by damped vibrations, and what are forced vibration, and the special case of forced vibration, that is resonance. So in the next class we will learn about some experiments which shows how the resonance will take place. Thank you.